2016. Sir has 1 year industrial experience and undergraduate 18 years, including postgraduate 4 years of academic experience. Currently, he is working as a principal in Guru Nanak Institute of Technology, Nagpur. He has more than 19 years academic cum research experience. He has successfully guided 59 bachelor degree students and 8 master graduate students. He has published 39 technical papers in reputed journal and recognized reviewer for an international conference, also authored books. He had chair in 4th International Conference on Innovation in Electronics Telecommunication Engineering. He also organized international conference as a co-convener and 14 workshop as a convener. He has attended 11 seminar also workshop. His participation in curriculum design is excellent. He has worked in various university committees as a member. He is possessing many professional body membership like IET, INSC. He also won Best Principal Award in 2019, also Mayor of Innovation Award in 2019, and Best Paper Award ICSCI in the year of 2018. So now I requesting Dr. Sudhir Shedke sir has further proceeding.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Shall we start?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thanks everyone for inviting me for this workshop. Myself, Dr. Sudhir Shedke. Madam has given a wonderful introduction. So I would like to start with this. First of all, I would like to thanks my beloved guide, Dr. Pramod B. Patil, principal of your institution, head of the department, Professor Deshmukh, Dr. Deshmukh, and Dr. Pandey, and all participants of this particular workshop. So I have been invited to this particular workshop to deliver a talk on CMOS technology. So we'll be starting with the CMOS technology. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, host disable participant screen sharing लिखा है. Please allow me to share the screen.
Okay. Sir, now you can share, sir. Okay, sir. Now it is possible.
Yeah, is it sir? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. It is not getting full screen. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Full screen. F5 से भी नहीं हो. Slide share is also not showing this particular full screen from beginning. F5 is not getting operated. I think you should give me access completely.
Sir, actually, I am giving you access completely.
What is problem? 1 minute. Stop. हेलो,
हाँ सर.
वो फुल स्क्रीन नहीं हो रहा. आई थिंक देयर इज सम प्रॉब्लम.
Okay sir. Sir
Shall we
actually.
start like this?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
है ना, because this from beginning वाला जो option है ना, it is not operating from here, and
Okay, sir.
F5 is also not getting operated. There is some
Okay.
issue with previously it was, but after sharing it is not getting.
Okay sir. Sir, it is visible to us.
No issue, na?
No issue sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, shall we start? So I would like to thanks everyone for inviting me for this particular workshop. 1 week AICT IST induction reparation program on advanced VLSI design using microwind. This is being organized by Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering, Dr. Rajendra Gode Institute of Technology, Amravati. Topic of my expert talk is CMOS technology. Myself, Dr. Sudhir Shedke, Principal, Guru Nanak Institute of Technology. So, outline of this particular talk is about the technology, that is MOS technology. Very first would be study of IC technology, microelectronics technology of IC technology, CMOS technology, attributes of CMOS technology, comparison of CMOS and bipolar technology, BiMOS, BiCMOS technology, future size of the particular technology, device count, MOS transistor theory, where does power go in CMOS? That is very much important. Static power dissipation, dynamic power dissipation, and short circuit power dissipation. So what is this IC technology? As you know that number of transistors on a chip is drastically increased by this decade. So there is a basic problem with this. As you go on increase the transistor on a chip, there is always problem with power dissipation, and IC technology has to be taken care to reduce this particular power. And power, which is mainly of static power, dynamic power, and short. So this all three particular power has to be minimized while designing this particular ICs. How this particular power to be reduced? So there are number of methodology by which we can reduce this particular power. Mainly the reduction technology of this power is RTL RTL low power design techniques, then gate level low power design techniques. Power can be reduced at scaling, power can be reduced at the system level. So there are various techniques by which we can reduce this particular power in the IC technologies. As you know that microelectronics technology is core of the IC technology, and how would be the feature size get increases as you go on increase this particular transistor on a single die, and then how we can reduce this particular W by L ratio, that is length and width ratio of the particular chip. As we know that we will have the overlook of this IC technologies depending on the number of transistors to be fabricated on IC technology. So IC technology has been categorized in various integration. So small scale integration, medium scale integration, large scale integration, very large scale integration, ultra large scale integration, and super large scale integration. So as we seen that this small scale integration started in 1950. So wherein we can see number of transistor per chip is 10 to the power of 2. Then we have MSI technology, which has started in 1960. Having this particular number of transistors is 10 to the power of 2 to 10 to the power of 3. That particular technology being used using the particular bipolar technologies, that is bipolar Schottky TTL logic we generally use for that. Thereafter, technology enhancement have been done, and that enhancement started with LSI, that is large scale integration in 1970s. We have seen in 1970s we have started with the number of microprocessor developing. So number of transistor on a single die is 10 to the power of 13 to 10 to the power of 5. And DNAV integration has started with 4K to 16K, then 64K, and so on. Thereafter, new technology that we are talking today about, very large scale integration, which have been started in 1980s, and having number of transistor on a single chip is 10 to the power of 5, approximately 10 to the power of 7. So having DRAM on integration is 256K to 1 MB to 4 MB. So generally, we are talking always about the very large scale integration. So thereafter, ultra large scale integration is come in picture in 1990. Having the number of transistor on a single die is 10 to the power of 7 to 10 to the power of 9, and DRAM integration is like 16M to 64 megabytes and 256. Then, as you know that there is a developing of the supercomputer. A supercomputer required the particular technology, that is super large scale integration. It is combination of BiCMOS and combination of arsenic. So in 2000, it has been started, and having to the power of 9 number of transistor on a single chip, and DRAM integration is above the 1 gigabyte, 4 gigabytes. So all this particular technology, when we are talking about this particular technology, we have to think about, we have seen that since 1950 to 2000 and now 2021, we have seen that every decade there are number of transistors go on increasing like anything. So, and this microelectronics technology is again reducing their size like anything. So because of this particular, there is always dissipation of the power. And as being this IC engineer designer, we have to always see that how this particular power to be reduced, and how we can reduce the particular size of the particular core. So important factor in achieving such a complexity is scaling down of the feature size. We have to scaling down of the feature size. We have to increase the number of transistors on a single chip. At the same time, we have to see that 3 constraints. One is power, area, and delay. So one of the constraint of these 3 have to be vary by keeping one of the particular constraint to be a constant. So that is what the technology says while reducing the particular power of the particular designing chip. So IC technology having a particular attributes. So integration of the large function on a single chip provides a number of attributes like that you can get significant of this particular technology are very beautiful, like less power per volume, therefore compactness. So when we design a particular IC, that IC on a single die, we have to always see that how this particular area and power to be reduced, how this particular area per volume to be reduced. So nowadays in 2021, we are working with the 18 nanometer technology. Can you imagine that 18 nanometer technology means how much power would be dissipated, and that particular power dissipation has to be reduced by the engineer. That is the challenges to the industry, that is fab industries. So less power consumption, as you know that as you go on increase the particular number of chip on a single die, there is always power dissipation, more and more power dissipation. So we have to develop a technique by which we can reduce this particular power, so that there would be very minimized power, so that there won't be any more dissipation. So that dissipation of the power can be reduced by using the low power methodologies. So there are number of low power methodologies. As I told you, that is RTL gate level. That is one of the best technology which I have designed and developed in my PhD topic. Our principal, Dr. P.B. Patil, he is my guide. He knows it very well. I have published many of the paper in SCA and other journals. So there are clock gating, there are low power designing at the clock gating, low power designing at the gate level, low power design at the system level, low power design at the partition level, and so on. Then scaling level. There are a number of techniques by which we can drastically reduce the power of the particular chip, even though we can go on increase the particular transistor. Every decade, everybody knows that as every decade there is a 10 billion transistor is increasing on a chip. So there would be vast number of power get dissipated. So that dissipation of power has to be taken care by the IC designer. So third point is less testing requirement at the system level. So how this particular testing to be done at the system level? Now consider we are using this particular chip in satellite type of technologies. We are increasing, we are putting this particular chip like ASIC in a particular type of model. So once you put this particular type of chip in some type of model wherein we cannot go and we cannot repair that. So less testing is highly required over there. So what kind of less testing requirement is needed? So engineer has to design a particular testing technique by which it would be automatically recovered the problem, automatically solve the particular problem. You might have listened, the technique is called built-in self-test. So built-in self-test technology is the technology wherein the particular chip is ultimately get repaired by that itself. So need not to be go for the manual recorrections, manual reconstruction, manual recorrection of that particular and all. So we have developed a technique. That means fab industry had developed a technique. That techniques can be recovered that particular problems of that particular chip automatically. So techniques can be called as built-in self-test, built-in self-test. So by itself, that particular problem has to be solved by the chip itself. Fourth one is higher reliability, mainly due to improved on-chip interconnection. So reliability is higher in this IC technology. It has to be higher and higher because it is on-chip interconnection. We are using the number of prototype like FPGA, CPLDs. We are using the ASIC, application specific integration circuit. We are using the ASIC, application specific integration processor, and all these are the highly reliable prototype chips which are generally using for high-end technologies. So this IC technology is highly reliable. Higher speed, as you know that higher speed, we are working with the internet. So we need to have a particular problem to be solved within a fraction of a second. So we are using the DSP type of things, we are using the DIP type of things, and that all algorithm is getting implemented in the hardware. So speed should be like anything. So it is expectation of the particular applicant. So high speed technology should be implemented in IC technology. So at the most, and last one is significant cost saving. So as you know that there are a number of manufacturers which are developing the particular ICs. So ultimately everybody is looking for the particular cost saving. So cost saving also the one of the significant concept that has to be taken care by the IC engineers. So this is about IC technology, microelectronics technology. So technology is also in this. Once you call the IC technology, that is being developed by the microelectronics technology. Microelectronics technology has been divided in two parts: inert substrate, previously registered technology. Then now we have this SiO2 type of things, silicon and gallium arsenide. So we have silicon and gallium arsenide. So generally active substrate we are generally using with the silicon. So silicon uses in two type. One is MOS, metal oxide semiconductor, bipolar, as compared to the metal oxide semiconductor. Bipolar logic is very fast as it is a current control device. But we are looking for the technology that is MOS technology. MOS technology again has been divided into three: NMOS, PMOS, and CMOS. NMOS technology, we know that N channel. PMOS technology is P channel, and a combination of PMOS and NMOS is CMOS technology. So NMOS technology is quite faster rather compared to the PMOS technology, and PMOS technology is quite slower than NMOS technology. So combination of this slower and faster is made into this particular MOS, that is CMOS. So CMOS is combination of NMOS and a combination of PMOS. That means it is faster than PMOS and slower than NMOS. So we have this particular CMOS technology, and we will be talking about the particular CMOS technology in today's lecture. So microelectronics technology, as I discussed over here, is bipolar, and another one is the MOS. So bipolar, what the bipolar is, the main technology is low power. It uses low power Schottky TTL. What it is? Low power Schottky TTL, transistor logic. But disadvantage of this particular technology is high power dissipation. But we don't allow to have a high power dissipation in a CMOS technology. So we should go for the mass type of technology. So this particular bipolar is generally used for SSI and MSI technology. So over this particular SSI and MSI, we are about to have in super integration. So MOS technology generally used for after this particular LSI. So LSI technology uses MOSFET since there can be package in small area. LSI technology uses what? MOSFET, since these can be packed in small area. We know that we are working with the nanometer technology. So number of transistor to be implemented on a single die. So we uses the particular technology being called as MOS technology, and LSI technology uses this particular MOSFET. So MOS field effect transistors. So very first is PMOS technology. As we know that it uses PMOSFET. Technology is PMOS, it uses PMOSFET. As you know that it is PMOS technology, mobility of the charge carrier is always hole. So hole is as slower as compared to the electrons. So having the mobility of this is 240 centimeters square per volt second. Because holes are majority carriers, and hence this is relatively very slow, very slow. So next technology which have been implemented after the PMOS technology is NMOS technology. It uses NMOS. What it uses? NMOS, N channel can be called. Mobility of the electronics is more faster as compared to the mobility of the holes charge carrier. So mobility of the electrons over here in NMOS technology is nearly about 650 centimeters square centimeter by volt second. Since electrons are majority charge carrier, this technology is faster in PMOS rather than the PMOS technology. Now we want the combination of this particular PMOS and NMOS. We want a device to be compatible with a particular power. It should be compatible with the particular areas, and it should reduce minimum leakage. It should have the minimum leakage. So we have combination of PMOS and NMOS, and that would be become a CMOS technology. It uses the combination of P channel and N channel MOSFET. So it is slower than PMOS, but it is faster than PMOS and slower than NMOS. It is combination of both PMOS and NMOS. So this VLSI technology uses this type of MOSFET structure. We can see that this is silicon insulator. This one is silicon insulator. Every MOSFET has got three. One is gate, source, and drain, and another one is the substrate that can be called as a body. So it is always a 4-terminal device. So if you want to go for the P type of things, that is PMOS, then substrate should be of N type. This is N type substrate. Then it becomes PNP transistor. So this would be a PNP transistor. This is P is a source because diffusion of the charge carrier is positive. Here diffusion of the charge carrier in the drain, that is P plus. We have the N substrate over here, so we can have the particular channel in between this particular source and drain. Okay, as you go on increase the particular VGS, that is voltage in between gate and source, ultimately there would be a formation of the channel in between this particular source and drain in the particular substrate well. So this would be a, a, a structure that is called, you can cross-sectional view of this particular technology. So we have this SiO2, that insulator we can put over this particular well, and thereafter we can put the gate connector. Ultimately, we have to always see this particular length, because as you go on increase this particular transistor on a single die means we have to always think about this particular length. So this is what we have, the future is what? Transistor length. Key feature of this particular is transistor length. So this is NMOS, this is N transistor, NPN. This was PNP, this is NPN. Okay, again the same source. If source is N type, then the substrate will be of P type. There will be a well and channel in between this particular source and drain. So ultimately, cross sections of this particular VLSI technology is looking like this. How this particular P transistor and N transistor, that is PMOS transistor and NMOS transistor combined together to get this particular CMOS. So this is CMOS. So PMOS is generally uses in conjunction with this particular NMOS to have a CMOS. Are you getting me? This particular PMOS always is in conjunction with this particular NMOS to have this particular CMOS. So firstly, once you go for the CMOS technology, we need to implement this particular PMOS. PMOS having this particular P type of charge carrier. So for this particular drain and source, and in between this particular, we should have the well. That well should be of N well substrate. So this become PNP. This PNP, that is PMOS, should be in conjunction with this particular NMOS, having this particular P type of substrate, that is P type body, so that this would be a PNPN. This would be NPN, and this NPN in combination with PNP, there would be a technology that become the CMOS technology. So this is how we can develop a CMOS by using this particular NMOS and PMOS. This is exact way of developing this particular CMOS technology. I have written over here as shown above, PMOS transistor is formed in separate N-type region known as N-well. This is P-type has to be formed in this particular N-well. Once it becomes the PNP, after that particular we can have the P-type of substrate. Then we can have NPN, combination of PNP and NPN, we can have the CMOS technology. So nextly, I will be discussing about attributes of the MOS technology, that is CMOS technology. Very important attributes of this is wide supply voltage of this particular transistor is 3 to 15 volts. It should not be more than 15 volts, should not be less than 3 volt for this operation of the particular transistor. Voltage required to switch gate is a fixed percentage of VDD. It sometimes 1/3 of VDD or sometimes 2/3 of VDD. It should be in between that particular. So voltage requirement is always a fixed percentage of the particular VDD, that is drain voltage. Packaging density requires 2 N device for an input gate. Means what? So this packaging density is number of storage cell per unit length. So how many memory cells are required to have per unit, that number of storage cell per unit length, area or volume of storage media. Means suppose we are going for the 4 input gate, the storage device is required 4 into 2, that become 8. So packaging density defined according to the number of input gates. How many input gates you require for that particular logic? According to that, we can have the particular memory storage. That would be a 2 into N. If it is 4 input, then it is 8. 2 input, then it is 4. 8 input, then it is 16. That is what the packaging density defined. Fully stored logic level, output is always settled at VDD or VCC, VSS, therefore called restoring logic. So this CMOS technology always being called as restoring logic because output is always settled at VDD or at the source or at the drain. So that's why it is called a fully restored logic. Characteristics of CMOS technology lies in between PMOS and NMOS. As I told you, it is faster than PMOS but slower than NMOS. So it is in between this particular PMOS and NMOS. Mainly used in systems that require portable or less power consumption. This particular always being useful in the portable devices. Nowadays, this mobile is portable devices. So we require this particular CMOS logic for the portable devices wherein we can have the less consumption of the power. So before this 2000s, wherever the particular mobile have been developed, that would have the particular type of high power dissipation. So within 1 hour or 2 hours, the power gets fully dissipated, and you can see the dying of the battery at a very constant level. So nowadays we can see that because of the development of the particular technologies like low power design technology, we can use this particular battery for more than 12 hours to 18 hours. So it is fancy only because of that particular less power consumption, that is attributes of this CMOS technology, which is highly being used nowadays in every portable device. It needs more processing steps as compared to the NMOS or PMOS. It needs more processing steps as compared to this particular NMOS and PMOS. So this is what we have the attributes. Comparison of this, today I am giving very basic ideas. First of all, you should know this particular, how this particular technology being used and what is the significant and attributes and all basic things of technology. Thereafter, in the next, I will be giving the detailed discussions of the particular technology. First of all, we will have the overview of this particular one. So comparison of CMOS and bipolar technology, static power dissipation. I told you, the static power dissipation, that means leakage. Static power dissipation is always due to the leakage current. Yes or not? Static power dissipation is always due to a leakage current. So that leakage current to be reduced, and CMOS leakage current is very, very low as compared to the bipolar. Input impedance is very high. So what is input impedance? Input impedance is measure, this input impedance is measure of opposition to the current, both static and dynamic. So input impedance is V in divided by I in, input voltage divided by input current. That means input impedance is measure of opposition to the current. It should oppose the particular current in both the end. So input impedance of this particular CMOS technology, because we have to oppose the leakage. So CMOS technology having the high input impedance as compared to the bipolar. Noise margin is very high. That is very, very required in the CMOS technology as compared to the bipolar. So noise margin is what? It is the amount of noise. What is noise margin? It is amount of noise that a CMOS circuit could withstand without compromising the operation of the circuit. So there should be very low, noise margin is the amount of noise that a CMOS circuit could withstand without compromising the operation of the circuit. So noise margin of this particular CMOS is very, very high as compared to this particular bipolar. Packaging density, as I told you that storing device, okay, it is 2n for the n number of inputs. So packaging density is also very high. Fan out is very low. It always required to be low. What is fan out? Fan out is the term that defines the maximum number of digital input that the output of a single logic gate can fit. So number of inputs are to be more. So fan out is the term that defines the maximum number of digital input that the output of a single logic gate can be fed. So this is fan out. It should be always low. So having low fan out as compared to this particular bipolar technology, then direction is bidirectional, and this bipolar is unidirectional. So this is what we are the comparison in between the CMOS and bipolar logic. So this I have given the overview of. First of all, everybody knows that particular terms. Until and unless you know the terms, you could not think of how this particular IC is to be designed and what constraint to be developed within this particular ICs and what would be the characteristics of those while designing it. So static power, noise margin, and packaging density, fan out, and input impedance, that has to be taken care always while designing this particular ICs in CMOS technologies. So over this particular CMOS technology, there is another technology that is called BiCMOS technology, where there is a limitation of the CMOS technology, where this particular technology stops. Thereafter, the particular another technology is getting started. That one is called BiCMOS technology. So this is bipolar and CMOS both. It is very fancy, because combination of both technologies, bipolar technology and CMOS technology, getting combined together and having a new particular. Why? Only to increase the driving capability of this particular mass. Why this particular two has been combined? It is being combined only to have more and more output driving capacity of the CMOS. That is the only reason, so that we can have high performance digital system. Are you getting me or not? Why this particular bipolar logic is getting combined with the CMOS technology? Because there is a limitation, that is driving limitation of the CMOS, and driving limitation of the CMOS can be overcome by using the particular bipolar technology, which having the higher gain and better frequencies. So if you combine both this, then ultimately we can increase the output driving capability. Okay, if you take this particular bipolar at the output, so ultimately we can increase the driving capacity of this one. So what is BiCMOS? It combines both the bipolar and CMOS logic. It combines both bipolar and CMOS logic. Bipolar is faster because it is current technology, but high power dissipation is always the problem with the bipolar. So that could be managed in only CMOS. That could not be managed in bipolar technology. Okay. So it combines what? It combines the bipolar logic, it combines the CMOS, and it is both on a single substrate, and both would be on a single substrate. So very first is it combines both bipolar and CMOS transistor on a single substrate. So what is MOSFET having? Limited driving capability. What MOSFET is having with limited driving capability, and that has to be overcome. While bipolar transistor provide higher gain. So bipolar transistor is always provide the higher gain and better frequency. And if you combine both, so ultimately what happens? The output driving capability of the CMOS gate can be enhanced if output stage is made with BGT. So ultimately we are combine the limitations of one technology, and we are using the appreciation of the another technology combined with both, and ultimately getting the new technology. That particular technology called as BiCMOS technology uses for the implementing high performance digital system. It always uses high performance digital system. So very super scalar technology is gallium arsenide technology, and that is generally used in the technology wherein we required speed like anything, higher speed. Okay, where in floating point operation is made. So that time we can use the gallium arsenide type of technology. Silicon MOS technology is main media for the computer. We know that. So for microprocessor, for the computer, every manufacturer of this particular uses this particular MOS technology. But over that, there is another requirement, that is speed requirement, and speed requirement is required for the supercomputer type of things. Okay, but the speed requirement for supercomputer, which are supposed to be operated at what? 10 bflops, billion floating point operation per second. Can you imagine? So 10 bflops operation is required, wherein this particular MOS technology get fails. We can use over this particular MOS technology. So we have only option to use that gallium arsenide technology. Okay, so because it only can handle the billion floating point operations per second, so it uses gallium arsenide technology. So this is all kind of technology which is generally used for the portable type of devices. This is future size. As I told that every decade there is a 3 billion transistor increases on a single chip, single die. What is the requirement then? We have to think of L. What we have to think of? We have to think of length of the channel. We have to think of width of the channel. Mainly, we have to take care about the length. Okay. So value of get length is called the feature size of manufacturing technology. Every engineers, every fabricated engineer has to be taken care about the length of this particular. Okay, while interconnecting the device with each other, we have to always think about the get length. What do you have to think of? You have to always think of get length. Okay, this length, this particular length. Okay, this particular length. As you know that in 1970 you started with micro technology. Now we are working with the nanotechnology, and today 1921 we are in the 18 nanometer technology. Let's see how that micrometer technology get converted into the nanometer technology. So it is only so value of the gate level is called gate length is called the future size of manufacturing technology. Thus future size is a function of IC technology. So when you talk about the IC technology, we should talk about this particular N. We should talk about this particular future size, and we should talk about this how much transistor to be implemented on a single chip and a single die. This is what all about. So this is layout of NMOS. As we are talking about the future size, then we should know this what would be the future size. 1970 we started with the future size 7 micrometer to 10 micrometer. In another decade we have seen up to 5 micrometer. The 1980s less than 2 micrometer. 1990 less than 1 micrometer submicron process, and currently future size is 0.25 micrometer to 0.15 micrometer, and 2020-21 we are seeing that people are working with the 18 nanometer technology. So it is very fast increasing number of chip on a single die by the decade. At the same time, we have to think about how L can be substrate length can be reduced so that there would be no dissipation. Also, we have to think of time, we have to think of area, we have to think of power. So there are three constraints while designing the IC always to be taken care. One is the time, another one is the area, third one is the speed. So once you increase the speed, then there would be dissipation. Once you increase the area, there would be dissipation. Thinking of this particular time constraint. Okay, so clock constraints, every constant has to be taken care so that there would not be any dissipation. Even though we can achieve the speed like anything, but there is a high dissipation, it won't be useful in the future size. So we have to always be taken care about the three constraints in MOSFET technology. One is the area, power, and time or speed. This is how this particular device can be manufactured. They call it a device count. So as everybody knows that we are working with the technology that is MOS technology, and we are using a particular software like VSGL, Verilog. In VSGL and Verilog, we might have seen the FPGA type of things, CPLD type of things. So we used to write a program within this particular editor of VSGL or Verilog. We implement this particular technology using the FPGA or CPLDs. So now once this verification of is over, that is what you can floor planning, layout, and scaling, then hardware implementations of this particular logic, conversion of this particular logic, real-time logic into this particular hardware, and that has been again implemented in this particular core of FPGA or CPLDs, or moreover we can say ASIC. Now this particular this particular design to be checked, verified. Once it is checked and verified with the standard logic, then that could be given to the fabs. That is what the process. Software implementation, then hardware implementation, and then manufacturing at the fabrication level. So now this particular whole diagram itself is called as ignot. What it is called? Ignot. So within a one ignot, how many ICs can be made properly, can be functional with all constraints. So this one. Now, as you see that, if you compare the technology of US technology with the Chinese technology, so same type of mobile, if you buy in Chinese technology, it would be having very less cost as compared to the particular one, because you know that Chinese technology, what they used to open this particular, they used to check the what functionality has been made inside, and again they would be doing all reverse engineering always, Chinese technology. And why even that particular people, Chinese people, having a very low cost of the particular device, because they won't be going for this core ICs. This is what we have, the core ICs, where we can have the perfect square, where we can have the perfect square, where we can have the perfect square. Okay, so all this particular is nothing but the scrap. This is called scrap. This is called scrap, and this particular scrap will be sold in the market with very minimum cost, and this type of IC is being used by the Chinese market. So they will be implementing all the hardware on this particular type of scrap, and that's why they can have the very low cost of that particular device. That is what the Chinese people do as compared to the other countries. So how my view is that that is different story what I am talking about. Here is what device count. How many particular chip can be manufactured within this particular one device. This can be called as one device. All these are the silicon wafers. All these are the silicon wafers, and this particular chip. How many devices that can be fabricated on 4-inch silicon wafer? Silicon wafer. This is 4-inch silicon wafer. Within that, we have to use what? 5 micro technology. Okay, what micro technology to be used? 5 micro technology. And what is die size? It is 4-inch silicon. So how many number of device can be implemented over? This is circle, pi square, pi r square into technology size is 5, 5 into 5 micro square. So we can have how many number? 3 into 10 to the power of 8. So thus we can say 1 by 10 decrease in feature size, increase the device count by 100 times. So we should also think of how many number of device can be implemented on a single die. Thus the 1 by 10 decrease in feature size, 1 by 10 decrease in this feature size. Now it is 5 micro. 1 by 10 we can think of. Anna? So ultimately device count would be improved by 100 times. So this is what we have, the device count, that also will be taken care while we are reducing the technology with the technology, that is meter technology. Another will be discussing MOS transistor theory. Very simple. First of all, we should have what is this MOS transistor. Structure of MOS transistor, operation of enhancement MOS transistor. This is cross section of the MOS, NMOS. Suppose we are thinking of the NMOS development. This is cross section of NMOS development. So as I told, it is NMOS N channel. Okay, this channel to be formed in between 2N. Channel to be formed in between this 2N. So what substrate you needed? P substrate. So diffusion over here is N of source. Diffusion over here is N of drain. Then substrate should be of P. So you should have PNP transistor. So PNP MOSFET, this would be body. Okay, this silicon dioxide above this one. So centralism device consists of metal oxide semiconductor subsystem made up of the conducting region called the gate. Everybody knows it. Top of the insulating silicon dioxide. This is silicon dioxide have to be put over here. As it is called p-type silicon, expectedly p substrate is of p-type. N region consists of drain. This N region consists of drain and source. So it has 4 terminal: gate, drain, source, and substrate. So likewise, we can have the NMOS technology, or NMOS device with P substrate. So that become PNPN. Okay. Likewise, you have PMOS. Again, what substrate is needed to be? N substrate. We can have the PNP type. So this drain is of P plus, source is of P plus. This is gate oxide. This is polysilicon, where we can have the dielectric or conductant. Here also we can have the dielectric conductant of source and drain. So ultimately, this is field oxide, silicon dioxide, and stopper. P region consists of drain and source. So it also have the 4: gate, drain, source, and this one. So this N is always using for the switching device, portable device. This is always in conjunction with the particular N, because you need to have the PMOS, CMOS. So conjunction of the PMOS with the NMOS, we can have CMOS. So that's why we have the metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. So P channel and substrate is on N type. So N type and source drain are formed with P type. As I told you that this is N channel MOSFET. So N channel MOS substrate is of N type and source drain are of P type. N channel substrate is of P type, while source and drain of N type. So gate is polycrystalline silicon electrode and insulated from the substrate. So that is nothing but the silicon dioxide, that is SiO2. Since the gate is insulated, okay, by this silicon oxide, that's why it is called insulated gate field transistor. It is voltage control device, as this this current is getting controlled by the VGS. You knows everybody. The current through a channel is controlled by voltage applied to the gate, that is VGS. So that's why it is of 2: enhancement type MOSFET or depletion MOSFET. What is basic difference between enhancement type MOSFET and depletion MOSFET? At enhancement MOSFET is always at 0 bias. So this VGS always should be less than VT or less than 0. Then there would be no formation of the channel. Once there is no formation of the channel, that particular MOSFET itself is called the enhancement MOSFET. As you go on, increase the particular VGS value, ultimately what happens? Channel is getting formed in between source and drain. So depletion region is getting formed. That depletion region is nothing but the channel. So ultimately that becomes the depletion type MOSFET. So there are 2 MOSFET. One is enhanced type MOSFET and depletion type MOSFET. Generally for the switching type of things or switching type of device, we uses enhanced type MOSFET. Always we uses enhanced type of MOSFET as compared to the depletion type MOSFET. That is what about. So this is how enhanced type MOSFET is met. As I told you that gate voltage VGS is 0. Here gate voltage VGS is 0. Lightly doped P-type material form substrate. Highly doped N-type region separated by the substrate from drain and source. When gate VGS is 0, drain current is 0. So we can, there is no formation of the channel. Once there is no formation of the channel, that becomes enhanced. Since the gate is insulated, any positive voltage applied to gate will produce electric field across the substrate. So we have enhanced. Only we have to think that VGS is always 0, less than VT. Ultimately, there is no formation of the channel. There is no transmission of the particular charge carrier from source to drain. Okay, so there is a 0 bias condition. Once 0 bias condition get occurs, that particular itself is called the enhance. So this is what enhance. That is generally called the normally off MOS. Enhance is always called as normally off MOS. This field will end on reduced negative charges in P substrate. These negative charges electrodes, which are minority carrier in P substrate, from an inversion layer, current flows from source to drain through this induced channel. More the positive voltage, more is the induced charges, and hence more current flows from source to drain. Generally, this is also called as normally off MOS, since the drain current is 0 for the particular gate, 0 gate voltage. Condition only that to be applied is nothing but the 0 gate voltage. So once it is 0 gate voltage, there is a no drain current is 0. Drain current is 0. That's why it is called the OP-MOS. So CMOS integrated circuit uses enhancement type transistor only. That we have to always remember. CMOS integrated circuit uses enhancement type transistor as it work at zero bias voltage. What is zero bias voltage? Once this particular VGS is 0, drain current is 0, drain current is 0, it becomes a normally of transistor. There is no formation of the channel. So that's why it is called enhanced MOSFET. This enhanced MOSFET. This one is enhanced. So this is NPN, NPN channel region. This is L. There is a no formation of the channel. That's why it is called enhanced MOS. Condition applied is VGS is 0. VGS is 0. Once this VGS is go on increasing, ultimately what happen? There is a formation of the channel in between these two one. Okay, charge carrier is getting transferred from one to another. Ultimately, current getting flow from another to one. So ultimately, what happen? There is a conduction of current from one source to drain. So ultimately, that becomes the depletion transistor. So this is depletion. So depletion is called en masse. Why it is called en masse? Because there is a formation of the current from this particular source to drain, as there is a formation of the channel. That's why it is called depletion. In depletion MOS structure, the source and drain are diffused on P substrate as shown above. Positive voltage enhance number of electrons from source to drain. I told you. This is positive voltage, that is VGS is greater. Enhance the number of electrons from source to drain. Negative voltage applied to the gate induce the drain current. It induce the drain current. This is called normally on MOS. Why it is called normally on MOS transistor? Now, as I told that where this particular power is getting dissipated. Now, once you talk about the CMOS technology, everybody has to be think about how to reduce this particular power. There are three types of powers usually in this particular IC technology, which need to be taken care. Very first is called static dissipation, dynamic dissipation, and short circuit dissipation. Today's challenge in this particular fab technology is how to reduce the current. So we have to implement number of methodologies by which we can reduce the current, and that technology and methodology being called low power VLSI design technology. What it is called? Low power VLSI technology and their physical challenges. What is physical challenges? As you go on increase the number of transistor on a single die, there would be always dissipation. And the dissipation of the particular current, dissipations of the particular energy need to be controlled by using the technology, being called low power methodology. So how many type of methodology generally uses RTL, register transfer level? Leakage to be controlled at RTL level. Everybody knows now what is register transfer level. Okay, if you do the synthesis, okay, conversion of this particular logic into the RTL is nothing but the synthesis. Okay, so once you do the synthesis, ultimately there is a formation of hardware structure. Okay, so number of gates are getting formed. That hardware is converted into gate. First upon, we do the synthesis of any structure. You might have gone through the particular FPGA. In the FPGA, after writing this particular program, you have to compile. Once you compile that particular program, ultimately what happens? we have to check whether the particular logic which have been implemented is correct or not. So we used to go for this particular clock, okay, and we used to check at what particular clock what output we are getting up, okay. So there is also technology. That technology is called clock gating. What it is called? Technology. So we can reduce this particular power at the clock. Technology itself is called the clock gating, okay. So while driving the particular clock, we can think of how this particular can be reduced, how this particular leakage can be reduced. Okay. So there is a clock gating techniques, there is a RTL techniques, there is a gate level techniques, there is a static level technique, there is a scaling technique by which we can ultimately control the dissipation of the power through this particular MOS. Okay. Once it is called MOS, it is combination of PMOS and NMOS. Okay, pull up and pull down transistor. Okay, we combine both this particular transistor to develop a logic. Okay, so we'll have this particular CMOS. So in this particular, always engineers have to think of how this particular leakage at various level to be controlled using the methodology, and that methodology is called low power VLSI methodology. So where that particular power gets dissipated, so where does power go in CMOS? So power कुठे जातो? Where that particular power get dissipated, that has to be think of. Once you know that where that particular power get dissipated, we have to put that particular technology over there, and ultimately that particular power can be controlled at that particular level. That means there won't be any further dissipation of the particular power. So we have three types of power dissipation. Static dissipation. What is static dissipation? Due to leakage current. Okay, static dissipation. When static dissipation, even though transistor is up, even though there is no switching of the transistor, even though transistor itself is off, there is no switching of the transistor, there is no transition in the transistor, still there is a leakage. Still there is a decay. That leakage itself is also static dissipation. So that also due to leakage current. There is always, every circuit there is a leakage. Once you know that there is a leakage, so what kind of technology to be used at that particular leakage and to be reduced? So that is what the challenges of today's world. So static dissipation is made due to what? Leakage current. It is due to leakage current. Dynamic dissipation is what? Due to charging and discharging of internal and load capacitance. There is a load capacitance. There is internal capacitance also. Every transistor having its own capacitance, that is called internal capacitance. Okay. And at the load, when you take the particular output at the particular load, so there is also capacitance. And charging and discharging, once you give the particular VGS charging voltage to the particular device gets on. Once get on, ultimately it itself get charged. Okay, there would be charging and discharging due to this particular internal capacitance. Okay, and that may be at the load capacitor. So dynamic dissipation is always due to what? Charging and discharging of internal and load capacitance. Short circuit dissipation is due to what? Short circuit dissipation always due to short circuit part made in between VDD and ground during the switching of the transistor, during the on and off transistor, during simultaneous switching of the transistor, there is a short circuit in between this particular VDD and ground. So that is called short circuit dissipation. So first of all, we have to study this particular static dissipation. We have to study this particular dynamic dissipation. We have to study this particular short circuit dissipation. Once you know this, and then what kind of technology to be used, I will be taking that particular technology in my next lecture. Okay. So because my PhD was on that particular topic, so I will be very delighted to teach you that particular, how this particular technology or methodology to be used to reduce the particular power and control the particular. That would be again the very good topic for your further research and your PhD. So static dissipation, dynamic dissipation, and short circuit dissipations we will be talking about now. Yes, static dissipation is due to, as I told you, it is always due to leakage current. It is always due to leakage currents. So leakage current in the reverse bias diode form between the substrate and source or a drain region. You might have seen that IC manufacturing and IC fabrication. Once you go through this IC fabrications, we will be knowing that how these parasitic capacitors get formed in between, how this reverse bias diode get formed in between this particular source and drain, in between this particular substract, that is well, N well, it is called P well. Okay, so when you have to implement P, we have to have N well. When you have to implement N, we have to have P well. Okay, so there is always formation of diode. That diode itself is reverse bias diode. That diode getting formed in between this particular substrate and source and drain region, and due to this particular reverse bias condition of the diode, leakage current is getting formed, and that leakage current is getting dissipated even though this particular transistor is off. So this is how the particular reverse bias diode dissipated leakage current. Okay, there is also another condition that is called sub-threshold condition. What it is called? Sub-threshold condition. It also contributes to static dissipation. Sub-threshold leakage increases exponentially as threshold voltage decreases. You know the voltage, that is VT, that is called threshold voltage. Above this particular threshold voltage, we can see that transistor getting on to off. So we should have that particular VTH. So that is called V threshold. And we are talking about the sub-threshold leakage. Sub-threshold leakage is getting increased exponentially as threshold voltage decrease. Threshold voltage go on decreasing, so this leakage current go on increasing. Threshold voltage go on decreasing, leakage current go on increasing. So that also can be managed. That also can be reduced. Okay. So total static power dissipation is always, P static is summation of leakage current, summation of all type of leakage current. Okay, leakage current due to reverse bias diode formation, leakage current due to sub-threshold condition, leakage current due to any other, but mainly leakage current is due to this two static condition. One is formation of reverse bias diode, another is formation of threshold condition, sub-threshold condition. Due to this, there would be another one also. So summation of all kind of leakage current in this particular MOSFET or MOS device into this particular VDD, Okay, when N is number of device in CMOS transistor, N is number of device in CMOS transistor. So how many device in this particular? This is what we are talking about, the static dissipation. So static dissipation is mainly due to leakage current. And how this particular leakage current? Due to reverse bias diode getting formation at substrate and source or drain region. Secondly, threshold. It is also due to sub-threshold. Threshold due to what? Sub-threshold due to increased exponentially due to reduction in this particular threshold voltage. Because it is threshold voltage is getting decreased, means is getting toward off. Once it is getting toward off, ultimately leakage will increase. So due to this particular condition, so we have P static, that is leakage current into this VDD. So as I told you, this is, as you go on decrease this particular VDD, it exponentially get increased. As you go on decrease this particular VDD, this leakage current is exponentially increases as decreasing of this particular threshold voltage. So this is how graph. Now this is dynamic power dissipation. This is dynamic power dissipation. As I told you, dynamic power dissipation is due to charging and discharging of internal capacitors as well as load capacitors. Dynamic power dissipation always hold due to what? Charging and discharging of internal capacitance of the device as well as load capacitance of the device. So we have to see that how this particular would be. So we have this P, and we have this N pull up and pull on transistor. So there would be internal capacitance in this particular device, and this is called the load capacitance. This is called the load capacitor. What happened while switching of this particular transistor from on to off or off to on or low to high or high to low. So at during low to high transition, during low to high transition, what happened? During low to high transition, part of energy drawn from supply, is dissipated in PMOS, is getting dissipated in PMOS while during high to low, this particular dissipation is stored into this particular transistor, and this should be released when there would be high to low transitions in the device. So during low to high transition, part of the energy drawn from supply is dissipated in PMOS, During low to high transition, part of energy drawn from supply is dissipated in this particular PMOS, while during low to high transition, stored energy on this particular capacitor get dissipated in NMOS transistor. So dynamic power dissipation gives measure of energy consumption. So dynamic power dissipation gives measures of this energy consumption. So dynamic power dissipation is always due to what? Internal capacitance as well as load capacitance. While low to high, what happened? This particular energy in this particular PMOS is get dissipated and stored into this particular, during this particular high to low, whatever the energy gets stored into this load capacitance in this NMOS, that would be released, and ultimately it dissipated the particular power. This how? This is charging path, this is discharging path. So this is PMOS, this is NMOS. Okay, load to high, this particular get charged, that due to this particular PMOS, it get dissipated and it get charged. Due to high to low, this is get released, and ultimately we can have the total number of dynamic power in the particular MOS. The average dynamic power is due to what? The average dynamic power consumption for input frequency of app is, the average dynamic power consumption for input frequency is load capacitance into VDD square into the particular frequency. Now suppose this has to be reduced. Ultimately any of these parameter can be reduced. Ultimately this would be reduced. Yes or not? You can reduce CL value, you can reduce VDD, you can reduce this particular app. So power dissipation is independent of the device parameter. It is independent of device parameter. What the device parameter actually have? It is totally depend upon this particular three parameter, that is capacity voltage, load capacitor, then VDD, and this is frequency. So power dissipation is independent of device parameters. This can be reduced by decreasing the value of, CL. This can be reduced by decreasing the value of VDD. This can be reduced by decreasing the value of frequency. By decreasing or by reducing any one of this particular parameter, ultimately we can reduce the particular dynamic power of the circuitry. That is MOS. So short circuit dissipation. Now we have short circuit dissipation. As I told you that short circuit dissipation is only due to the short circuit path formed in between VDD and ground. Short circuit dissipation is only due to what? Short circuit path. Short circuit dissipation is only due to what? Short circuit path between this particular VDD in ground during the switching of the transistor. So this particular short circuit path, and this it is DC power consumed during the switching, and it is generally a DC power. So a direct current path from VDD to ground exists when both N and P transistor are conducting simultaneously during the switching. On off. It continuously getting on and off, N become on and P become off, P become on and become off, simultaneously switching from one another. Okay. So direct current direct current path from VDD to ground exists when both N and P transistor are conducting simultaneously. It getting conducted simultaneously during the switching. Therefore, there is a formation of the short circuit path in between VDD and ground, and that resulted into leakage current. And that ultimately resulted into DC power. So short circuit consumption is only due to this leakage current into VDD. So short circuit power depends upon W by L ratio of the transistor. It is totally depend upon W by L ratio of the transistor. As I told you that wherever you design, you have to think of this particular W. We have to think about particular L, length, W is width, W by L ratio. In stick diagram, you might have seen all this W by L ratio. Depending on the W of L ratio, we can see how much space is getting consumed by this particular transistor on a die. As I told, that count device count. So the device count is also totally depend upon this particular W by L ratio. That's why we need to have the stick diagram. We uses this particular stick diagram only for this particular purpose. Greater the rise fall time of the signal, larger is the power consumption. So rise and fall time of the signal is greater, है ना? Rising path and falling path. Capacitor का आपने देखा होगा, diode का आपने देखा होगा. So there is a rising and fall time. So that is TR and TF. Okay. If it is greater, then there would be a larger consumption of the power, and that power itself is called the short power dissipation. So this is what about. In the next lecture, I will be going for the CMOS processing technology. Not today, because it is too vast. Okay, in which we have to study IC fabrication, what is photolithography, what is CMOS fabrication process, latch up in CMOS circuitry, stick diagram, layout designing rules and layout exemptions. Also the power methodologies by which we can. Hello? Hello? Shall I stop?
Hello.
Sir, shall I stop?
Sir, one of the participants asked some questions in chat window. I think Swapnil Bedar is there.
Ha.
And he expecting answer of this question from your side.
Yes, sir. Sure.
The question is how much BiCMOS technology is effective, and for programmable IC design used for mobile, which IC technology is used?
In mobile, we generally you go for the CMOS technology, because we have to have a number of device on a single die, and device itself is the portable device, and you have to think of the current. Okay, that is leakage current to be highly reduced. So MOS technology is only this one solutions for this. Okay, because over there in this particular mobile technology, there is a logic of the DSP and DIP also has to be implemented. So
Okay.
So this BiCMOS technology, hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Are you getting my answer?
Okay. Just a single question was there, sir, from Swapnil Badar. There is no any one question. Okay. Professor H.G. Dharmade, you can continue. So, that's fine. Yes, Dharmade madam.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to one and all. Gather here on this wonderful behalf of Dr. Rajendra Gore Institute of Technology and Research, Amravati, and organizing team of today's program. I, Professor H.G. Dharmade from EXTC department. I would like to present vote of thanks. It's a matter of pride for me that I get a chance to thank such a graceful resource person, Dr. Sudhir Shetty sir. I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to
For questions. Shall I leave the meeting? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. See you in next session.
hello.